You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
Country called the USA, and we fly our flag cause we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. Never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights. We're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can. We're Americans.
This is Rio of Madison Rising, and you're listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Oh, man. Hope you were here last week for show number 100. It was quite the adventure. Had some great guests on. Want to thank Diane, Hammy, Kim, and Sam for all being on last week. It was a ton of fun. Just so everybody will know, I have already hammered out a return date for Kimberly Ross, July 12th. We're going to be back with a big pro-life show that night. We've done this once before, but never with Kimberly, so we're excited to have her coming back. And the other big news I think I can tell you, I mean, it's solidified, so I can say it, right, Rick?
See, you can say it.
See, I can say it. You heard it alluded to last week on show number 100 by Polita Bunny. She has now confirmed that she is returning to the airwaves right here on KLRN Radio with her new show, FUBAR. And it will come on Wednesdays right before this program. That's right. We're actually going to open with the headliner and then put the opening act behind that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know you call it an opening act, but the lesser act right behind that. It's a strategy move. It's okay. I like it. So anyway, June 28th, right, Rick?
Yes, sir. June 28th,
yes.
7 p.m. Eastern, and it's Strategery. It's Strategery.
Strategery, you heard it there from the genius that came up with it, I guess. Anyway, Polita Bunny will be joining the KLRN crew again on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, right before yours truly. And I will have a new soundbite ready to go for having 5 shows like that wrote up on Wednesday. I already have the soundbite in mind. I just have to go download it and tweak it. So anyway, it's all good. Glad to be welcoming Sam back. And I am also working on something special for you guys for the latter part of June. I have a couple of contacts that I have to get back in touch with that have agreed to come on to the show already, and we're going to hammer it all out. And hopefully one Wednesday in the latter half of June, we're going to make that show come together. I don't want to give it away just yet because we want to make sure we have everything hammered out. So do yourself a favor. Keep tuning in every Wednesday. Get your knowledge on and join the G Nation. Now, right after me tonight, you get Jesse's POV, the right side, and then America Off the Rails. It's the same as it's always been, folks. Nothing changes the Grand Slam until June 28th when Polita Bunny returns. So, that said, let's push on with what we got to cover tonight. The big story that most news media outlets are refusing to cover, and if they do cover it, it's such a glancing blow that you would never know, is the big Obama oops. And we're about to get into it. I've probably got, as usual, a little more data prepped than we'll get to cover tonight, but better too much than not enough. So we're going to spend some good time on this, and we're going to get into it pretty deeply here. Our national security agency intentionally and routinely intercepts communications of American citizens in violation of the Constitution. During the Obama years, the National Security Agency intentionally and routinely intercepted and reviewed communications of American citizens in violation of the Constitution and of court-ordered guidelines implemented pursuant to federal law. The unlawful surveillance appears to have been a massive abuse of the government's Foreign Intelligence Collection Authority, carried out for the purpose of monitoring the communications of Americans in the United States. While aware that it was going on for an extensive period of time, the administration failed to disclose its unlawful surveillance of Americans until late October 2016, when the administration was winding down and the NSA needed to meet a court deadline in order to renew various surveillance authorities under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. The administration stonewalled on this, and the scope of the violation induced an exasperated Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court to accuse the NSA of an institutional lack of candor in connection with what the court described as a very serious Fourth Amendment issue. Now, this surveillance court, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, was created in 1978, technically. It's often referred to as a secret court because proceedings before it are classified and ex parte, meaning that only the Justice Department appears before the court. The FISA court opinion is now public, available through several links out there through media outlets. But the unlawful surveillance was first exposed in a report at Circa by John Solomon and Sarah Carter. They've gotten access to internal classified reports. The story was also covered extensively Wednesday by my friend James Rosen and Brett Baer at Fox News' special report. According to the internal reports reviewed by Solomon and Carter, the illegal surveillance may involve more than 5% of NSA searches of databases derived from what is called upstream collection of internet communications. As the FISA court explains, upstream collection refers to the interception of communications as they transit the facilities of an internet backbone carrier. These are the data routes between computer networks. The routes are hosted by government, academic, commercial, and similar high-capacity network centers, and they facilitate the global international exchange of internet traffic. So basically, what happened here, and this is just so you get an idea of what's going on, this is the electronic equivalent of the government looking at your mail. But see, here's the thing. When the government looks at your mail, they're allowed to look at the envelope and they're allowed to see who it's going to and who it's going from. But they're not allowed to open that envelope and see what's inside of it. Okay? That you're protected. You're supposed to have that privacy. Now, of course, there are some exceptions. If they were to x-ray a package and obviously see a bomb or a weapon, an obvious weapon like a firearm, they could confiscate that at that time. But there are still legal procedures they have to go through. They can't just tear it open and take it. Okay, so in the electronics, in the electronic world, in the world of cyberspace, what they're allowed to look at legally is they're allowed to look at who is sending a message and who is receiving that message. They're allowed to look at those headers on your digital communications. And what's happening here with the Obama administration is that they're actually taking your mail out of the envelope, electronically speaking. They're monitoring your message. Okay, so you have an idea of what's going on now. And this upstream collection from the internet's backbone, which accounts for about 9% of the NSA's collection haul, which is massive in terms of communications. It's distinguished from interception of communications from more familiar internet service providers. Upstream collection is a vital tool for gathering intelligence against foreign threats to the United States. It is, of course, on foreign intelligence targets, non-U.S. persons situated outside of the United States. This is who the NSA and the CIA are supposed to be focused upon. Foreign agents operating inside the United States are mainly the purview of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which conducts surveillance of their communications through warrants from the FISA court. Individualized warrants, that is, based on probable cause that a specific person is acting as an agent of a foreign power. Now, the NSA conducts vacuum intelligence collection under a different section of FISA, Section 702. It is inevitable that Section 702 surveillance authorities will incidentally intercept the communications of Americans inside the United States if those Americans are communicating with the foreign target. Okay, I get that. This does not raise serious Fourth Amendment concerns. After all, non-targeted Americans are intercepted all the time in traditional criminal wiretaps because they call or are called by the target. And here's where it gets better. FISA surveillance is more controversial than criminal surveillance because the government does not have to show probable cause of a crime. Not only do they not have to show probable cause of a crime, they also don't have to name the American citizen that they know they're going to be intercepting. They can name the foreign concern, and that alone gets them the right to violate your privacy. Now, when the when the targets are foreigners outside of the United States, the government does not have to make any showing. It may target if it has a legitimate foreign intelligence purpose, which is really not much of a hurdle at all, as I just indicated. So, as noted in the coverage of the Obama administration's monitoring of Trump campaign officials, FISA Section 702 provides some privacy protection for Americans. The FISA court orders minimization procedures which require any incidentally intercepted American's identity to be masked or hidden. You've heard this term, the masking and the unmasking, yes. That is, the NSA must sanitize the raw data by concealing the identity of the American. Only the masked version of the communication is provided to other U.S. intelligence agencies for purpose of generating reports and analyses. Now, we've talked about this before. However, this system relies on the good faith of government officials in respecting privacy. There are gaping loopholes that permit American identities to be unmasked. If, for example, the NSA or some other intelligence official decides doing so is necessary to understand the intelligence value of the communication. While that kind of incidental collection raises the concerns of privacy advocates, it is a small problem compared to upstream collection. The technology of which poses profound Fourth Amendment challenges. American communications are being seized and subjected to inspection, however cursory, in the absence of any warrant, probable cause, or foreign intelligence relevance. There you have it. In a nutshell, it's not possible to capture a single email related to a single target as it transits the backbone routes or switches that connect the networks. The NSA must instead capture packets of email data, which includes lots of emails besides the targeted email. It sifts through these packets, finds and assembles the components of the email it was looking for, and then discards the rest. Now, discard sounds like they throw it away. No, 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 no. They do not throw it away. Now, there was a New York Times report by Charlie Savage earlier this week in connection with a different FISA issue, and it provides a good explanation of this particular process. By contrast, the relevant discussion in the FISA court opinion of multiple communications transactions, or MCTs, is brief and heavily redacted. Even if the NSA does exactly what it is supposed to do, and that's sift and discard, this means American communications are being seized and subjected to an inspection, again, however cursory it is, in the absence of any warrant, probable cause, or foreign intelligence relevance. Now, couple this problem with the way the NSA targets, okay? The upstream communications that it collects end up in databases. When the NSA has a target about whom it seeks intelligence, it runs a search through the databases of what is variously called an identifier, a selection term, or a selector, some email address, phone number, or other identifying information related to the target. So for years, our government intelligence agencies have not just sought any communications to or from this target, they've also sought any communications about the target. So when the target merely appears to have been referred to, this means the communications of people, including Americans inside of the United States, are far more likely to be accessed and analyzed, even though, again, there's no warrant or probable cause. And there may be no direct communication with a proper intelligence target, and the Americans' communications may be of no value. So to summarize this up, we have the communications of Americans inside the United States being, quote unquote, incidentally intercepted, stored, sifted through, and in some instances analyzed, even though those Americans are not targets of foreign intelligence collection. Now, these so-called minimization procedures are supposed to prevent the worst potential abuses and the pretextual use of foreign intelligence collection authority in order to conduct domestic spying. But even when compiled with, there's a colorable argument that the minimization procedures do not eliminate the Fourth Amendment problem. And again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but they permit the search and seizure of your electronic communications without probable cause. Now, we know the minimization procedures have not been complied with. Some of the Obama administration people have admitted as much. The new scandal involves their flouting. In 2011, it became clear to the FISA court that the minimization procedures were providing insufficient protection to Americans. Of special concern was the use of identifiers of American citizens as selection terms for database searches. While the activities of these Americans might have made them worthy foreign intelligence targets, there are other ways to monitor them under FISA. Targeting them for Section 702 searches increased the likelihood that wholly domestic communications between Americans would be collected. Thus, the minimization procedures were ratcheted up. The most significant change, as the FISA court opinion relates, was that the revised procedures categorically prohibited NSA analysts from using U.S. person identifiers to query the result of upstream internet collection. This meant that the NSA was not supposed to use an American's phone number, email address, or other identifier in running searches through its upstream database. In this prohibition that the NSA routinely and it is this prohibition that the NSA routinely and extensively violated. Evidently, there was widespread use of American identifiers throughout the years after the 2011 revision of the minimization procedures. This is bad. The violation was so broad at the time the Obama administration ended, its scope had still not been determined. So the big question will be whether this new scandal is mainly a case of technology outpacing the capacity to formulate rules that bring its use into constitutional compliance. The Trump Justice Department proposed new procedures in late March, which the FISA court has approved. These include the elimination of searches about a target. Henceforth, searches are limited to communications in which the target is presumptively a participant to or from. The new procedures redouble efforts to assure that the database collects only foreign communications. At least one end of the communication must be outside of the United States. We should also note that Section 702 is due to lapse unless reauthorized later this year. So the new rules will obviously be subjected to close scrutiny. A salient question will be whether the new scandal is mainly the tech outpacing the capacity to formulate rules that bring it into constitutional compliance. So I'm sure there's a good deal of that's going on. That means the system is inadvertently inputting communications that should not be stored and or collected. Plainly, through something more insidious, though something more insidious has also gone on, even if the inputting has been inadvertently flawed, the outputs, what is actually accessed from the databases, what is sifted through, what is analyzed, what is stored, what is thrown away, would be less likely to violate American privacy if the minimization procedures were followed. The rules from 2011 forward were simple. Do not use American identifiers. It doesn't get much simpler than that. Yet the NSA, under the direction of the Obama administration, used them. Not once, not twice, widely. And it wasn't because some tech didn't know better. The violation of law was routine and extensive. It was known and concealed. And clearly, this new scandal must be considered in context. The NSA says it does not share raw upstream collection data with any other intelligence agency, but that data is refined into reports. To the extent that the data collected has increased the number of Americans whose activities make it into reports. It has simultaneously increased the opportunities for unmasking American identities. Woo! All right, need you to hang on for a minute. We've made it to the bottom of the hour. We got to take a quick break and get the bills paid and all that good stuff. When we come back, we'll wrap this story up and we'll press on into some other things we're going to cover tonight. So do yourself a favor, go get that drink, pop your popcorn, get it buttered, and get back in your seat. We'll be back in just a few minutes, folks.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me, ain't that America? Something sea, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from the critique of the short story through to line edits on full-length novels. We also offer assistance on generating writers' bios for your websites. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Oh, but ain't that America? For you and me, ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
Yeah.
We are back, sir.
We are back. Okay. All right. Well, see, that shows what happens when you don't pay attention, folks. So anyway, before we dive back in, let me just remind you again, right after me tonight at the top of the hour, Jesse's POV, followed by The Right Side with Dan Wright, and then America Off the Rails with Rowdy Rick. Do yourself a favor. Stay right here with KLRN. TV's all reruns right now, folks. It's summertime. That's just how it is. Get your knowledge on right here. So we're going to dive back into this story. So fitting that I chose to do this story tonight with the news of the subpoenas coming out of Susan Rice and who was it, Rick? Susan Rice, Brennan, and who?
Hang on one sec. I'll grab it for you.
Anyway, Rick he actually told me the names. I knew they were dropping the subpoenas, but
it was Samantha Powers, John Brennan, and Susan Rice.
There you go. The unholy trinity of Obama underlings, if you will. So this story that we're covering right here about the Obama administration collecting data and unmasking American citizens unjustly, it's just apropos that all this fell together just like this today. No, I really didn't have any inside information. Nod, nod, wink, wink. Okay. So anyway, other reporting in this story indicates that there was a significant uptick in unmasking incidents in the latter years of the Obama administration. More officials were given unmasking authority. At the same time, President Obama loosened restrictions to allow wider access to raw intelligence collection and wider dissemination of intelligence reports. This geometrically increased the likelihood that classified information would be leaked, as did the Obama administration's encouragement to Congress to demand disclosure of intelligence related to the Trump campaign. This is the purported Trump-Russia connection that everybody has said, or we cannot find any evidence of said connection at this time. Well, they've only been looking for over a year. How long does it take? And of course, there's been a stunning amount of leaking of classified information to the media, enabling of domestic spying, contemptuous disregard of court-ordered minimization procedures, procedures the Obama administration itself proposed and then violated, and unlawful disclosure of classified intelligence to feed a media campaign against political adversaries. I mean, quite frankly, this is the Obama legacy, folks. This and ruining healthcare. This is it. When is America going to wake up? When is it enough? Look, I'm not a huge fan of Trump. I've made that no secret over my time on this program. Through the primaries, he was not my pick. He is the president. I will support our president regardless of who it is. I will also call that president out when they screw up, and Trump does screw up, and I will call him out. However, he has done nothing like this. There is no proof of connection with Russia. Did Russia meddle in our presidential election? Probably like our CIA meddles in a lot of other countries' elections. It's expected to a degree. You have to be a grown-up about this, okay? You can't blindly support or blindly be against either side. You have to evaluate everything on its own. Every action should stand on its own. The measuring stick is the Constitution. Now, no matter who does it, you have to measure it against the Constitution. And if it stands that test, so be it. This does not. It does not. And this will be Obama's legacy. This is what happens when we elect, God, and I hate saying this, an ill-prepared person to be president. Now, that being said, the final two candidates this time around were neither prepared. I think that Trump can do some good. I think he has a lot to learn still. I think he's learning very quickly how difficult the job of president really is. How he's going to motivate Congress to get his agenda moving, I don't know. We'll see how it all shakes out. But again, he's not violating your constitutional right to, search and seizure here. Fourth Amendment. That was Obama. And this, it stinks all the way to the top. And he'll end up getting, this will never reach Obama. It'll never reach Obama. Susan Rice would fall on her sword first. I have absolutely no doubt that Susan Rice would fall on her sword for Barack Obama. Why? I have no idea. But I think she would do it. The whole thing just sickens me. Absolutely sickens me. Now, all that being said, I want to transition just a little bit and let's talk about this Russian communications and Russia connections prior to inauguration and all that stuff. So we've got former federal prosecutor Andrew McCarthy saying that Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, made a very bad call by allegedly trying to establish a secret communications channel with the Kremlin using Russian facilities. He went on to say that Kushner, who is a senior advisor to Trump, is not guilty of criminal activity for his actions. McCarthy said, "I think there's a terrible lapse in judgment, but not criminal activity." Now, McCarthy served as assistant U.S. attorney for New York's Southern District, so he kind of knows what he's talking about here. And if you don't read McCarthy's pieces, you should, because he's a brilliant writer too. I don't think you can reach out to especially Russia and try to set up, whether it was Russia's idea or his idea, a back channel under circumstances where it would be completely controlled by the Russians, McCarthy said. He said Kushner should have been given a heads up to the intelligence community and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein that he had planned to meet with Russian officials. In not doing so, you've left yourself vulnerable to the Russians spreading misinformation about it and to the intelligence community leaking this information about it. And it was a lapse in judgment on their part to allow themselves to be put in that position, said McCarthy. It does not suggest any criminal wrongdoing and actually blows up allegations that there was collusion in tampering with the 2016 presidential election between the Trump campaign and Russia. Had there been collusion, there would be no reason for Kushner weeks after the election to have to try to set up a channel of communications with the Kremlin. Duh! Not hard to figure out. But this is the narrative that the left wants to push through the media outlets. Jared Kushner, Jared Kushner, Jared Kushner, Russia, Russia, Russia. This is what's getting pushed on you, folks. Not Obama violating your Fourth Amendment rights, but Jared Kushner talked to somebody before Donald Trump was inaugurated. Therefore, there must be something going on there, right? Anyway, enough of that nonsense. Again, not passing judgment on anybody here just yet. Let's let the facts fall where they fall, and they will themselves pass judgment on whoever. So what's next? Well, we got to deal with the little fat kid over in North Korea in tennis shoes. Yeah, you know.
I'm so lonely.
Absolutely he is. And you know why he's so lonely? Because he keeps eating everybody. The people are starving to death over there, and their one fat person in the country happens to be the ruler. He's walking around. I think he just swallows people whole once they make it under 100 pounds. I don't know. I mean, that head might just have a ratchet on the jaw.
Hey, you, one thing, come here. You about size of hors d'oeuvre. We take you now.
Anyway, so, I mean, you know, we have some interesting things going on. One of the things I think that might be going on, and apparently I'm not alone because Gideon Rackman thinks the same thing, And that is that China is just trying to humor President Trump on pushing North Korea to curb its nuclear ambitions. Rackman is a chief foreign correspondent for the Financial Times, and he gave an interview to Newsmax TV's Bill Tucker to discuss his new book, Easternization, Asia's Rise and America's Decline from Obama to Trump and Beyond. It's a hell of a title, by the way, quite a mouthful. But anyway, he says, I'm not sure they actually are convinced that it's a great idea to totally put the squeeze on North Korea, Rackman says. They worry that if the regime actually collapsed, it might provoke economic instability in Beijing. So you got President Trump trying to apply pressure to Xi Jinping to increasingly push North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un to end North Korean nuclear and ballistic missile programs. Trump made Pyongyang central to his weekend summit last month with Xi at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. And in some ways, it's convenient for them to say, oh, sorry, guys, there's not much we can do about that. You know, talking about North Korea, China talking about North Korea, saying there's not a lot we can do. But there's an element of truth to it as well, referring to the economic issue. North Korea is a very poor country, but it is armed to the teeth. It has nuclear weapons. It has a very large army, and it would fight. There is a long history of deep Korean and now North Korean nationalism. The Chinese could put pressure on them, but whether they can deliver North Korea or deliver an end to the nuclear weapons program, iffy. More broadly, North Korea, the North Korea issue comes amid President Xi's effort to expand China's economy. So, China, while trying to expand the economy and crushing one of their major trade partners, again, iffy. Are they really going to push hard? They're going through this expansionist phase, and if you follow the rhetoric of President Xi, he talks about the great rejuvenation of the Chinese people, which is almost the Chinese version of Make America Great Again. He says, oh, make China great again. Anyway, but Beijing is facing similar economic woes as the United States, instabilities in the financial system, some crazy real estate booms that they don't quite know how to control. So, you got all this going on. And then at the same time this past weekend, our missile defense system does a $244 million test to see if their new technology, it's not new technology, it's newly enhanced technology, can actually shoot an ICBM out of the sky. And guess what, folks? They were successful. We basically launched a rocket from the Marshall Islands, and we launched a rocket from California, and the rocket from California shot down the rocket from the Marshall Islands. This is a great test. Should China be unsuccessful in corralling the wild-eyed little fat guy, if they end up developing an ICBM that can reach mainland United States, this missile defense system is going to prove very valuable. And that we had a successful test is super fantastic in my book. And I hope we actually do another test or two or three before this technology is done being tweaked and considered ready to roll. Even though I know it's ready to roll right now, we actually have 32 of these interceptor missiles that are sitting in silos ready to be launched right now in Alaska. I don't know how many we have anywhere else, They weren't at liberty to say what the actual response system would look like if North Korea or anybody else were to launch an ICBM. We do not know how many interceptors they would launch to shoot it down. Again, at that point, I don't think it really matters as long as we have enough of the missiles. I don't care about the cost. If there's an ICBM, especially a nuclear-tipped ICBM heading toward the United States, I don't care what the cost is to save those lives. We have to do it. And yes, that even includes California. So anyway, we got all that going on. And what else do we have going on? Well, here's a little something that's fun that's going on. So there's this free speech rally planned for this coming Saturday in Portland, Oregon, deep in the heart of one of the bluest, most liberal parts of the country. The group organizing the rally already has a permit for the event, but it's no longer looking like a sure thing. Using a recent racist attack on a train as his excuse, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler is calling for the permit to be revoked and the rally to be canceled because, anybody? Bueller? Because Trump. The mayor of Portland on Monday urged United States officials and organizers to cancel a free speech rally and other similar events, saying they are inappropriate and could be dangerous after two men were stabbed to death on a train as they tried to help a pair of young women targeted by an anti-Muslim tirade. Mayor Ted Wheeler said he hopes the victims will inspire changes in the political dialogue in this country. The federal government has issued a permit for the free speech rally and has yet to give a permit for an event on June 10th. The mayor says his main concern was participants coming to peddle a message of hatred, saying that hate speech is not protected by the Constitution. Apparently, Mr. Wheeler has not read the Constitution. So what's going on is that basically a rally that's designed to promote something positive, free speech, and exchange of ideas, civil discourse, so on, so forth, rather than marching against something, is what the mayor is worried about: hate speech. That's rather ironic, considering that the rally is an act of defiance against the actual violence regularly perpetrated by liberal opponents of free speech in places like Berkeley. Citing the murders on the train is even more of a laugh when you consider that the killer was a supporter of Bernie Sanders and voted for Jill Stein. This guy, you can't even really call him a leftist so much as he is just a complete lunatic. I mean, I know people on the left that you can have discussions with. This guy that killed these people on the train has a history of being thrown out of Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, and even anarchist events. When you get thrown out of anarchy events, there's something wrong with you, something really, really wrong with you. But what's really alarming about this mayor's unhinged and uninformed demands isn't the obvious hypocrisy so much of the ignorance of basic facts about our democracy. This guy is an elected official in a major city in the United States. There have been far too many Democrats who have been showing up lately and arguing that so-called hate speech isn't protected under the Constitution. This idea is some of the worst sort of horse hockey out there and has been repeatedly and thoroughly debunked by people like Eugene Volokh. who said, I keep hearing about supposed hate speech, the hate speech exception to the First Amendment, or statements such as, this isn't free speech, it's hate speech. Or when does free speech stop and hate speech begin? But there is no hate speech exception to the First Amendment. Hateful ideas, whatever exactly that might mean, are just as protected under the First Amendment as other ideas. One is as free to condemn Islam or Muslims or Jews or blacks or whites or illegal aliens or native-born citizens as one is to condone capitalism or socialism or Democrats or Republicans. The type of ignorance being displayed by Ted Wheeler isn't just sad, it's dangerous, folks. When ideas like that begin to take hold in the mainstream, fundamental liberties begin to erode. What Wheeler seems to have forgotten, assuming that he ever knew it to begin with, is that we don't have protections for free speech because the founders were worried about citizens being punished for saying popular things. Nobody is going to suppress your opinion about you liking puppies because pretty much everyone likes puppies. But when people begin expressing unpopular minority opinions, particularly when they are unpopular with the government, that's when protection is needed the most. Because when we allow the government, or anyone else for that matter, to say that it's okay to talk about liking puppies, but you will be silenced if you say hate Muslims, a gray line has been established somewhere between the two, and that line can and will eventually move. And it could be you who winds up on the wrong side of it one day. But then again, this is Portland we're talking about. The motto of the city is keep Portland weird. I suppose this is your sort of mayor and your sort of city, and this is sort of what you wind up with, folks. Well, here we are. Just like I said, we didn't get to everything. But we are back at the top of the hour. And it's been fun. We've liked it. I know you liked it, or you wouldn't be here listening to me right now still. So anyway, again, stay tuned. Jesse's POV up next, followed by Dan Wright with The Right Side and Rowdy Rick with America Off the Rails. June 28th, Polita Bunny comes back with her new show, Fubar. And what? I don't guess I have much else, so I guess I will just thank you for being here. If you like the show, tell your friends. If your friends like the show, you very likely need new friends. But they and you are welcome here every Wednesday night on KLRN Radio with us. Thank you. God bless. And we'll see you soon. Good night.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from the critique of the short story through to line edits on full-length novels. We also offer assistance on generating writer's bios for your websites. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.